Welcome back. Dominic Omondi is here from Light for the World, as well as Eunice Mboya from the Kenya Association of the Deaf. We are discussing matters to do with challenges of the deaf, and they've really been enlightening us on what we can do here at, is it CAS? This is K?
Yes. K,
CAS,
then A, then double
CAS,
F, then T, V. T,
V.
then V, yeah. Yes, that is amazing.
I was just telling them when we were on the break, I'm sure children learn this thing very quick. You know, and Dominic, you were saying something about your children.
Yeah. I actually, my children, I have one who is like 4 years old, and her mom has been teaching her sign language, and she has picked up on sign language, mostly even Kenyan and affiliation of American Sign Language, like how to sign mother and father, which we have variation in Kenyan Sign Language and American Sign Language. And also the other, the sibling who is 9 years old is very, very proficient in Kenyan Sign Language. And a lot of people who are deaf also admire the way they sign. So if I'm not there, then another deaf person come and they're having an interaction with them. They can just socialize directly, and I see it. It's a beautiful thing. And I mean, it's a beautiful language, right? So if they can pick up on the same, and I thank God for that.
Yeah. Eunice, you mentioned about CBC, and I like that because I thought at an early age it's easier to get children to, embrace sign language. What would you say about that?
Yes. I think my suggestion would be I think language acquisition period is like between 2 to 6 years. You can easily acquire language, whether you're hearing or a deaf person. We need to utilize that period for language acquisition. So you can start with sign language within the school, because it can really help with cognitive development. I think if they learn at that particular tender age, they'll never forget the language. I think I had an experience of going to an international school. We were doing sensitization about awareness, and we had been invited to do the same, teach a little bit of sign language. So we taught like a number of 4 of them, and now it has, other kids have picked up the interest, and it's something that they have adopted within the school. And I see that as something that is very, very wonderful. That is something that is happening in Kenya, and I wish the CBC committee can, consider having sign language fully in the curriculum, so that both schools, either hearing schools or deaf schools, can learn sign language. Yeah.
I like that, because I think it would also do it will be a good move to reduce stigma. Yes, you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure. Yes.
Yeah, so that people can just know, being deaf is just okay. You're just a normal person. You're just speaking a different language.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. When we talk about challenges, and we say, because we've mentioned one, education, bringing in children early to be able to talk. When we say, when you talk about governments, they say that they are dealing with different disabilities. For those of you who are deaf, what would you tell government are the most important things? We've mentioned education. What else would you say are the most important they should look at?
Well, I think we need to have inclusion. Inclusion first, the aspect of inclusion of sign language within the hearing schools. Also, when they're deploying teachers to deaf schools, they should stop employing teachers who cannot proficiently sign, right? Because the intention of coming to school as a teacher is to teach, not to learn the language and teach. So I think if we can have teachers who can learn sign language first, be proficient in the language of instruction, which is sign language, then come teach, right? I think that will help improve the quality of education that we are receiving. And if we can have Kenya Sign Language being made part of curriculum within most of education institutions, that will be great. Because At the moment, we have teachers who don't know sign language. They have done special needs education, but they don't know sign language, or they're not proficient enough in it. Then we have a challenge, right? And at primary level, that is where you're building foundation for you to be able to even adopt in higher education setting. But if I don't have that foundation, then I can't participate fully. So if at a tender age we can focus on that, because we know whatever is being taught at a tender age is hard for someone to forget. If you're teaching adult, they can easily forget. But for kids, they pick up very, very hard, very, very fast. I think that is what I'll say on education,
Yes, Dominic.
On the same, I am in agreement with what Eunice just said, because within the education setting also, we have, especially in higher education also, we have challenges where you don't have access to an interpreter, and it becomes hard for you to do that. So you are in class, and the teaching is oral, and you can't really follow up the instruction. And that is on that particular aspect. So if that is happening, how do you think will be the performance of that particular deaf student? Okay, definitely poor, and that is because of the quality that you're getting. So my advice will be, if the government can focus on improving the quality of services that we are receiving, then it will help us to have the qualification that we are needed, to have the knowledge and skills that we need. Because we have the urge, we have the morale, we want to have A's, right? But we don't achieve that. We haven't seen deaf person achieving that because of the quality of education that we're receiving. So my request to the government will be, if we can also have proficient teachers, proficient interpreters, for us to access quality, for us to understand the actual concept that is being brought about. I'm interested in the subject, but I can't understand. I have to rely on a hearing person to help me. But I want to access that directly myself, so that I can compete with my hearing peers. You get an A, I can get an A, right? So, and that will also build up on my esteem and social perception about the deaf persons, right? If we keep on getting E's, then the assumption will be what? We can't learn. I think education is very key.
Yeah, I like that, because it just means, just because you cannot hear does not mean that you're not clever. You just cannot hear, but you are just as clever as anybody else out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Now, so tell me, what does Light for the World do, Dominic?
Well, Light for the World is an international organization that works on economical empowerment of persons with disability. They source out for micro-entrepreneurs. They'll come do need assessment in terms of the gaps within the entrepreneurial skills. After that, after doing need assessment, they come do verification of the businesses that persons with disabilities have established. Then they start training. We have business training, where you get skills on how to do bookkeeping. We also have training on self-advocacy skills, so that they can help you also be confident enough to source out for markets. For instance, like I had a linkage for my business with a school through Light for the World, and that is like a new linkage that I got it through Light for the World. It really helped boost my business. So we have market linkages that we do for the same, and with this support, you can really see your business improving, and also creating that awareness, help people have more interest in learning the language. So yeah, I think Light for the World does a number of things. Yeah, I think that's it. But generally focusing on the aspect of economical empowerment, because they also have a fund that they provide for us to help also improve our business, and they always are with us in the process of business expansion. Yes. Inclusive of training, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And Eunice, your work at Kenya Association of the Deaf?
Yes, Kenya National Association for the deaf, their main objective is to advocate for deaf rights. We have a right to equal and quality education, right to access to information, right to health, right to promoting social life of the deaf community, similarly to other tribes that we have. Before establishment of KNAD, Kenya National Association for the Deaf, we were stuck in terms of education. You did up to class 7, then directly you are taken to vocational training. But we did a number of lobbying, and now we have a number of people who can access higher education equally to their hearing peers. Back to area of access to communication. If you can remember, according to the old constitution, Kenya Sign Language wasn't recognized as a language. But within the 2010 constitution, we have Kenya Sign Language fully recognized as an official language, the third official language of Kenya. And now that is why I'm here. I can use Kenya Sign Language for communication. I think by then, before the new constitution, it wasn't a recognition that we had. And now you can also see that we have sign language interpreters provided for in the televisions, because of the policies that are there. Still, we have challenges with the size of the insert. Mm-hmm. We wish it could be bigger, but we still continue to push for access to communication for the deaf person. We wish if we have more awareness on the same, then people will understand. I think we feel that service providers should at least have basic sign language skill to be able to directly communicate with their deaf clients. So you can also go to, like, for instance, the National Hospital, right? We will need, like, to have that access to communication within, for us to be able to access the health services. I think that is under the mandate of Kenya National Association for the Deaf. It's a process, but we as an association, we feel that we are moving on and we are improving the lives of deaf persons in Kenya.
Yeah, I'm wondering, would it be nice if you went to a hospital and the person communicating to you understood? They had a communications person who actually understands this language. So you can say, you know, I'm feeling sick this way, this is what's ailing me. You can actually be able to communicate effectively. Because I'm sure that's a challenge with doctors sometimes, if you have to tell them what you're really feeling, you know, and what their interpretation is of what you're feeling. Yeah?
Yeah, true. That happens. That is a huge challenge. And that is why we are advocating that we need the doctors to learn sign language, because also, you know, some illnesses need confidentiality. You don't need a third party, like as a sign language interpreter.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Affect your openness to the process. So you feel that you have something that should be private, should be kept confidential, and you want to have that interaction with the doctors themselves. So we wish that we have a day where, you know, doctors will just know sign language, that I can go and communicate to them directly about the illnesses that I have, so that I can receive the services that I need from them.
Yeah, interesting science. How do we say private and confidential?
Private, yes. You gag them out.
Yes. I like that. Private and confidential. We have come to the end of our show, but let me just ask before you go, what would you tell people who are at home? They have either gone deaf, you know, sometimes somebody becomes deaf at an adult age, or they have somebody who has gone deaf. How can they help? I want you to talk to both sets of people. How can we help as a community, and what would you say to the person who has gone deaf and is feeling like it's the end of the world?
Okay.
Anybody can go as you close.
Yeah, I'll go. I think my advice is first to a deaf person. If you become deaf at whatever age, never think that your world has ended there. I was there before, but I'm here now. I accepted myself. First thing that you need to do is self-acceptance, right? You're not alone. We are many of us just come to Kenya National Association for the Deaf. You can also visit our website. We can have an interaction. We can connect you with our community. We can help you gain your self-confidence. We can help you advise on how you can go on with your life. Because I believe you can. Me as a deaf person, I believe I can, right? We are equal with others as deaf persons. If you have a child who is deaf, if you have a neighbor who is deaf, that child is as equal as their hearing peers. What we need is the freedom for them to freely express themselves, interact with others socially, and within all aspects of life. Deaf persons are capable. So if you have a deaf child, accept the deafness. Accept that, right? It doesn't like bring a barrier for them to achieve anything. It's you that can bring that particular barrier. I think they can accept they can achieve anything in the world.
Thank you, Eunice.
Yes. I think me as Dominic, first I want to appreciate Light for the World, because they have worked a lot in terms of empowering us economically and, doing capacity building for us. I gained financial skills in terms of how to do bookkeeping, how to track my business through their trading, which has been amazing. So I'll just ask any deaf person who is out there, who is interested in learning things to do with how to manage your business. You can look out for partners like Light for the World. They can guide you through the process of business registration. They can hold your hand through the process of running your business until the point that you are able to continue yourself. Because some of the time we start business without the knowledge. You start, then it collapses at a particular point. Because my life is totally different now comparing before Light for the World came on board. And I really appreciate that they came, they saw the needs that we have, and they have worked very hard to improve us.
Yeah. What's your advice for somebody who has just gone deaf and for somebody who is around that person? What can you tell them as we close?
Well, I think we have deaf people who have a lot of skills and abilities. My advice is, first is the aspect of understanding yourself, especially focusing on the area of livelihood. If you're interested in particular livelihood activities, find someone who can help you out with that particular skill so that you can grow up. For instance, business, we have Light for the World that can help out for that. And that can also create awareness on the abilities that the deaf persons have.
Yeah. Well, Dominic and Eunice, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate, how do I say thank you? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Open palm on top of another open palm. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Well,
this is welcome.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've got something today. At least I know this is W. Yeah?
Yeah.
And Z is just this way. Those are the easy ones.
Yes.
Huh?
So you can also learn how to fingerspell your name with the alphabet.
Mine is Levi, L-E-V-I. L.
Then E.
E.
Yeah, E.
Yeah. Then V. This one I know.
Then
and
I. Yes.
Oh.
That's it.
So that's me.
You can try it again. And just keep.
So L.
L, yes.
Then E was.
Then E, yes.
E.
Yes.
Then V.
Then I. Yeah.
This is.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you for coming. I've really enjoyed this show. And you've really enlightened my mind, as I'm sure you've enlightened the minds of many of our viewers this morning. And God bless you as you do your work and as you help others to be able to.
And also you can pick up on sign language. We also offer the same at KNAD.
Yeah.
We appreciate CAS TV for the invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate CAS TV for the invitation. Also, I think as Eunice has said, you can join the program by KNAD to also learn basics and
I will. Thank you so much. That's 59 minutes for today. God bless you. Have a good day. Stay tuned for Ilosu coming up after this.